We live, motherfucker.
All right, one take. You know how we do it. We got an interesting topic today. We're talking about how to retire your parents.
Let's do it.
The goal of many,
Let's do it. Let's do it.
achieved by few. So,
Jake,
yeah, let's go.
how do you retire your parents, bro?
It's very simple. It's very simple, and people overcomplicate the shit out of it. They think that you need to make $1 bazillion and then eventually, like you see on YouTube, and people will write checks to their parents for literally $1 million and pay off their house, or just give them a huge lump sum of cash, and that is not how you do it. I mean, I guess that could be one way, but it's not the most practical way to do it. So it's even easier than you think it is. So when I was taught how to do this, it's a very simple math formula. So you ask your parents, what are your monthly expenses, right? Because when you think about retirement, when people actually retire, all they do is they live off their Social Security, right? And as long as they can pay their bills, they don't have to work anymore. It's as simple as that. So you ask them how much their bills are. Do you know how much your parents pay monthly?
No, but I know how much they have left to pay off, like mortgage and everything.
Yeah, so
I don't know how much monthly. I'm assuming it's in the range of,
maybe
a few grand.
Yeah.
Couple.
maybe 4 or 5K.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, most people's biggest expenses are mortgage, right?
Right. So if that, but if that was paid off, like, that'd be different.
Yeah, it would be, right? Because it'd be the bulk of their expenses, but then they'd still have to pay for groceries, the light bill, property taxes, fund money if they wanted to do literally anything, all this other stuff. I mean, people have expenses. Like your expenses are what, probably 4 or 5 grand right now.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm traveling that much, then
Yeah, exactly, right? Okay, so you can write a check and pay off your parents' house. Like I know my parents, they live in a house in Topeka, Kansas, and they have, like, last I checked, $92,000 left on their mortgage. So if I paid off their mortgage,
That's about what my parents are at too.
yeah. So I mean, they wouldn't have much to pay, but they would still have to work. Like they couldn't just stop working. They would, if the roof needs to be replaced, or if something else happens, they would still need to work to generate income. So what you do is you just gather their monthly expenses. That's mortgage, property taxes, insurances, any bills, water, sewage, electricity, food, and then some extra for fund money. You gather all that up. Let's say it's $4,000 a month, and guess what? All you have to do is make an extra $4,000 a month and give them an allowance. Now it's your turn to give your parents an allowance, right? As long as you can pay for all of their monthly expenses and a little bit more, what do they need money for, right?
That's so fascinating because the only thing in my mind when I think of retiring my parents is get to the lump sum amount of money that it's going to take to pay off like the mortgage and the debt, and then they'll be able to live on their Social Security.
Yeah.
But I've never thought of it like you could just give them a monthly stipend.
Yeah.
Like you could do that so much quicker.
You can. You can. Like so I remember asking this question to Casey Baugh. He's one of my favorite entrepreneurs. He's in, I wouldn't call it VC now, but he's an investor, like angel invests in companies, and he teaches an entrepreneurship class at BYU. And he's a serial entrepreneur, made it big in Vivint, and just invests in businesses now. And I asked them at a conference, and I said, Casey, I've got $100,000 in my bank account, and I know my parents, their mortgage at the time was like 100 grand. I was like, I can literally just pay off their mortgage right now because I want to retire my parents. Should I do it? And he says, why would you burn all of your liquidity at once when instead, he took the investor approach, take that 100K, don't spend it all on a house, but of course, use leverage, take debt out on a house, maybe give it to them as a gift. Like, hey, I'm buying you guys a house, rent it out, and the income from that property can go towards their allowance and pay them, right? Versus just burning 100 grand and you have nothing to show for it. Or you can just give them a recurring income.
Yeah, it's super interesting because I get the point of that. Like, your money's more valuable if you have it because then you can put it to work, right?
Of course.
The thing in my mind is it's kind of like a checkbox for me. It's like I want to retire my parents.
Yeah.
Check mark in the box. They gave me my life. I want to give them
Yeah.
the rest of theirs. And in order for me to feel like I've checked that box, I want them to be able to live like for free.
Yeah.
Like their house is free. It's paid for. It's free. And so in my mind, that box would get checked if I gave them the lump sum to pay off the house, but it wouldn't get checked if I was just saying, here's your monthly stipend. For me, maybe not even for them. Maybe they would feel like, you know, and they're not expecting anything, obviously.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big surprise.
Of course.
But, yeah, like for me, it's like, I feel like I want to be able to be in a position where I can just do that. Just
So-
be like, 100K wire, pay off the house, you're welcome, Merry Christmas.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that'd be awesome, right? But it's almost like an ego thing, right? To be able to
true.
say, oh, you know, I just want to write a check for $100,000 to pay off my parents' house. Because by doing that, they're not paying for their house, correct? Because you're paying for it. And if I gave them a monthly stipend to pay for their mortgage, it achieves the same exact thing. They're not paying for their house. But the first one is much more attainable, right? Because it only costs, dude, I know my parents' mortgage is literally like $900. Okay, so if I just give them $900 a month in perpetuity or for the rest of the mortgage, I paid off their
like
house.
it's paid off.
It's the same exact thing, except I don't have to come up with $100K. I just have to come up with $900 a month.
That's so interesting. I've never thought about it like that.
Right. So I mean, the only it almost seems like I told you it was scarcity at that time when I asked Casey Ball that question, because it's like, oh, I have $100K. What happens if I lose it, right? Because I know I can just do it right now, like you said, check the box, get it over and done with, or you can, even if you don't have $100K right now, if you have, maybe you only make a few grand a month. Well, after taxes, after your expenses, maybe you still can retire your parents. I would say don't do that, because it's hard to fill other people's cup when you don't have anything left in yours, right? So obviously set yourself up well financially, and then take care of those that you love. But yeah, I think it's much more attainable to do it this way. It might not be as cool, right? Than writing or sending a wire for $100K, but it achieves the same exact outcome. Your parents are not paying for their house anymore.
Super interesting. Yeah, no, that's a good perspective. I think, go ahead.
They could still work if they wanted to, right? But it's so much more freeing working, knowing when like you're not, it's not a means to an end, right? You're not working because you need to pay the bills. You're working just because, oh, like your parents get to work and all that money's profit, right? That's the beautiful feeling in business, is when you know that money coming in is pure profit. You have no expenses. And that's what it is for them. Anytime they work, it's just pure profit. They get to do whatever they want with that money.
Amazing.
Just cover the monthly bills, and that's it. Your parents are retired. They don't have to work if they don't want to. You know, retired people still work sometimes because they're like, oh, I was just bored.
Yeah. You've
Same
done
thing.
stuff like take your family on like vacations and stuff, right? Can you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, my family. This is it's a little bit different of a topic, but I mean, growing up, we had never ever gone on a family vacation, like ever. We just literally never did. When I was 1.5 years old, we went to California for my uncle's wedding, my mom's brother's wedding. And so I guess that could be considered a family vacation, but I was literally
1.5.
I was not conscious being at the time. And then we would go see my family up in Minnesota like every other summer for the 4th of July. But I mean, seeing family and like going on a vacation, kind of two different things. And so we'd never been on like a true family vacation and went to just have fun and explore and, you know, relax and do those things. So, when I was 18 and moved out to California, and that was one of my goals, I said, I'm going to take my family on a vacation. And so I flew them out, paid for tickets, paid for a beachfront Airbnb, paid for meals. I got to treat them to the most expensive dinner they've ever had in their entire life. I remember I took a picture of the tab. It was $1,600 at the end of it. We had Wagyu, we had lobster, we had, what are those white little circle things? Little
Caviar?
seafood. No, seafood. Scallops?
Yeah.
Scallops, I guess. That's not too fancy. But, you know, all the seafood, all the finest meat that you can have, all the desserts. My brother ordered like 3 desserts. You know, he's a big kid. But yeah, paid for really nice meals. Got to show them what real luxury is like. You know, it's super cool, especially for my little brother growing up. You know, at that restaurant, there were 2 Paganis parked outside. like $3 million
Really?
in cars.
No, that's so cool,
right
man.
there.
Like, you're able to give them that experience.
Yeah. It was just that, you know, I want to give my family the experiences that they've never had, and so we got to share it together, you know, and that was super fulfilling. And so they stayed out beachfront for a week, got to wake up, feet on the sand, and then I did it again the next year, and that was super cool. And so we'll see where the next one takes us.
You moved out there at 18 to California with this goal in mind, and then, like, when were you able to fly them out?
Yeah, so it was, I moved out to California July 2019.
I'm assuming you didn't have that much money when you moved out.
I had $2,000 in my bank account and an Airbnb for a month.
Yeah.
30 days. I was like, all right, I got 30 days to make this happen. Otherwise, I'm sleeping in my car, and I'd committed to that. But we'll talk on that for another. That's another video in itself. But it was. I remember I'd moved to SoCal in September of 2020, and I flew them out in December. Yeah, of
September to December.
Yeah. Well,
it took you 4 months.
No, I mean, I moved in 2019 to California, and it was 2020 when I'd moved to SoCal. So it took me almost a year and a half. Year and a half,
awesome.
And I got to, you know, treat him to that, and I treat myself to that. I'll tell you what, that was the most selfish thing I've ever done, because I have never felt so good about myself, and felt so. There's nothing else that I've never felt that way before. Like making all the money that I have, or, you know, getting a girlfriend, or, I mean, anything that you can achieve that would make you feel a certain way, nothing had made me felt like that did. Being able to treat my family to an experience like that, you know, because they were so proud of me, you know, they were so grateful and thankful for it. So, yeah, that was the best experience I've ever had.
That's awesome, man.
Most fulfilling and grateful.
I know what you mean by the selfish thing, but it wasn't selfish. Like,
yeah,
I know you know what I mean as well, but
exactly.
No, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, it was great, man. So yeah, that's how you retire your parents, and little extra bonus topic there on one of the best feelings you can achieve is giving back to your loved ones. So we'll catch you on the next one.
It's dark now, huh?
Hopefully you can still see us. I don't know. Peace.